Here we are again. This is Sergio Lujan. It's March 29th today, Sunday, about 4 p.m. So what a week it was this week. Amazing. There's too much to cover here in a very short condensed time. But the number one question I was getting asked this week actually, was, does this mean with everything that's going on, is there going to be a recession? Is the market crashing? Are my real estate values going down? What's going to happen? That was the number one question this week for me that I'm getting from customers. I'm in the process of helping a couple of two commercial folks who need help with the specialized SBA financing that they can do it themselves, but they're leaning on me and the team for some help. So it was a hectic week in the news. I mean, so much happened this week. But that's the number one question. So I'll deal with that one first. Will real estate prices crash or go down? The likelihood is yes. How much? We don't know yet. We've never been in a market like this. We are dealing with what's called a black swan. You look for the next talk we do, I'll talk more about that. But we're dealing with something that came literally out of the blue. It was unexpected. The economy was chugging along. Everything was good. Everything that was in the news was either impeachment or it was things, the big debates and Bernie and Biden, and then all of a sudden they're gone. You can't even hear about them anymore. This is an election year. So usually in an election year, we don't have recessions or potential recessions. It's unheard of. So that's the number one concern on people's minds that called me this week. I don't know about outside. I know there was 3.1 million people that filed for unemployment this past week, which is huge. It's astronomical. The market had already factored that in because there wasn't a big reaction on the market the next day, the same day that it was announced. So historic. This week is completely historic week. One like we've never seen before. And because it was a black swan event, meaning it came out of the left field, unbeknownst really to anyone that it would take this effect. I listened to economists, I went back to prior to the full March 12th or so when things really got crazy. And I was listening to February, and I went back and I listened to January. And they were talking, well, maybe Corona might affect us. It might not, we don't know how much, we'll see. But in the end, it literally caused the federal government to issue a 2.2? See if I get my numbers right. I believe it's a $2.2 trillion package. It's called the C.A.R.E. Act. And it's got a long acronym, C.A.R.E. Act of 2020. What is this going to do? Well, it's going to provide big stimulus for small business, big portion. I'm not going to give you the breakdown right now because this is going to be somewhat of a short video, but stay tuned for probably one during the week. So it's got a big SBA package. It's got a big kind of general population package as well. That's where the $1,200 I mentioned last week, $1,200 per adult is going to come from. Stay tuned for that. That'll be somewhere about approximately three on the shorthand, but probably more closer to 6 weeks on the IRS stimulus that'll come to you. What do you have to do about that? Make sure that you file your taxes, preferably 19 if you can. If you have 18, they're gonna look at two things. They're gonna look at your last date that you filed, the last address that you filed, and they're also going to be looking at your bank. If you had a direct deposit, they're going to be sending it to that bank direct deposit that you had last time when you filed. So if you haven't filed the 19, try to file a 19. That way everything is up to speed and up to date on your address and your direct deposit. That's the short version of how to take advantage of the stimulus package. If you're a household of 99,000 and below, it phases out, I think, after 146. So that's how you deal with that. If you're making less, 146,000 less as a married couple, single, 75 or less, you can also make you'll be able to get that. You can Google that anywhere, you'll find it. C.A.R.E. Act of 2020, IRS stimulus. So back to SBA. Big package there. Small business they're encouraged to apply. If you're an Uber driver, if you are kind of a commission only type person, 1099 person, for the first time that I've in any history, you're actually eligible for unemployment, which is amazing. Typically that's reserved for people that are W-2 employees, but now the federal government is opening and expanding it. It's an 880-page document, and I haven't gone through the whole thing. I've just skimmed over some highlights. Stay tuned for more information, because there's a lot of information in there as well regarding your mortgages, which is my area of specialty. Your mortgages, you'll be able to forbear payments on your mortgage, and there's a process for that. They're making it very simple for anyone that owns a 1 to 4 unit property. It's going to be streamlined. If you own more, if you're in the commercial space and you own more property, then they're going to ask you for taxes, and they'll ask you for things to prove that you have an event that's been affected by that your net income has been affected by the COVID-19. So they're a little bit more stricter on your folks that are more business owners and have non-owner residences or commercial, mainly commercial, 5 and above. So, but if you're in the 1 to 4 space, you're going to have a little easier time getting through and getting forbearance if you need one. Please don't abuse the system. Use it if you need it. If you don't need it, if you haven't been affected, keep doing what you're doing. It'll help everyone. It'll help the country. And that's what we all have to keep in mind, that we all have to work together for the betterment of our country, not just our own individual pockets. Students, I've talked to probably about 3 different students on and off over the course of the last week or 2. And students, I encourage you to look for a side hustle during this time. If there's downtime for you, look for a side hustle. Do something that you can help create income for yourself, so where you're not just sitting being idle. I saw some pictures of kids being out in Florida and having a good time, and hey, I'll take another Corona, and kind of making fun of the whole thing. Don't be that person. Open up your mind, invest in yourself, and I'm saying this for everyone. We have to invest in ourselves right now. Take good care of your health. Read a book. Look for things that will help you as a person stay positive and kind of enriching your soul. Because if all you're doing is watching the news and all they call it what is the curve? I forgot the full name of the curve. There's a curve that when there's an event that occurs, it's an epidemic curve, an epi curve. When it goes up, there's a lot of hysteria that builds as the curve is ramping up, and that's what we're at right now. 100,000 cases in, I believe in the country. I think we take the #1 spot in the world now. So please, you have to water your mind with taking good care of yourself, sleeping well, eating right. Make sure that you're not just doom and gloom with your friends. You've got to stay focused. Look for opportunity. In recessions, these are the #1 times when businesses get started. Believe me, I'm seeing it all around me, just in the small group of people that I deal with on a personal level. This is the best. In the last 3 weeks, let me put it to you this way. In the last 3 weeks, I've talked to at least three people that have started or are about to start a small business of some sort, some kind of side hustle. One of them is a photography business. The other one is a tree cutting business. And the third one is a catering business. So guess what? In today's economy, look for opportunity. It's not, and I hate to say the end of the world, because it's one day it will, but right now it's not. It's not the end of the world. Look for opportunity in this. Invest in yourself. Anyway, enough on that. Besides that, there'll be another little topic on the top 10 jobs that I found for people who are maybe looking for something, additional income, probably a side hustle. That's probably the best way to say it. Stay tuned for that. Besides, our unemployment numbers are going to get worse, unfortunately. Unemployment numbers are going to get worse, and we won't know if this market is going to crash it. We probably won't know for another probably 90 days, because the data that we have right now is looking back 90 days. So we can't see how it's going to affect. What I do know is this. Right now, sellers, I know 2 sellers, 2 properties that got pulled this week because of no activity. No activity. Zero activity. There is virtual tours that are going on, but for the most part, I am kind of estimating it's somewhere in around 20% of activity out there. This is all anecdotal. I don't have data yet. It's still too soon. But I'll be taking a survey this week of realtor partners to find out what percentage of those are actually going out and showing clients. I talked to one out of 5 this week. 1 out of 5 said, and they were a cash buyer, they were going out and physically inspecting properties, the ones they were allowed to see. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out over the next 90 days, if sellers let you in, if buyers are willing to go out, and because the circumstances that we're in. And so we'll see in 90 days, we'll see how this COVID has affected the market. So I'm not here necessarily to spread more information on what the news is telling us, because we have plenty of information from the president, NIH, and the World Health Organization that tells us all the statistics on COVID-19. So that's going to be a big help. As unemployment continues to rise and increase as we're seeing it week to week, we've got to stay calm, we've got to stay focused, and we have to invest in ourselves. That's the other point I was making today. You've got to invest in yourself. Take time for yourself. Read, sleep, eat right, exercise, take good care of your mental health, because during these times, we have to keep sharp. We can't put our head and bury our head or be glued to the TV all day long watching bad news. That's not good for you. It's not good for us. More statistics and numbers later as the days go by. But for now, the market, the last 90 days, it showed, depending on the county that you lived in, Ventura County 3.5 increase, Orange County 8% increase, LA County 7% increase, San Diego 5% increase. Overall, the market looks well as of 90 days ago. Let's talk in 90 days. Let's see what this COVID-19 does to the real estate market. But chances are it will be affected, but to what degree, we don't know. For now, I believe we are done for the day. So you guys have a good week, and I look forward to talking to you again. If you have any questions on Instagram, it's the Real Sergio Lujan. Please follow me for more information. I'll be having a special webinar in about another week. We'll be connecting with a very prominent San Diego family health care physician there that gave me the green light to do the show with her for about 30 or 45 minutes. So look forward to that, and look forward to producer Paul helping me on that one. So thank you all. You guys have a good week and stay safe. Thanks again. Have a good night. Sergio. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel, okay? And tell your friends. Thanks.